It can really be hard as a fan to sit back and watch as great players enter the twilight of their careers. We remember them for all of the great things that they did and all of their accomplishments, and we want to believe that that's who they still are and what they can still be. And unfortunately, that reality eventually smacks us smack dab in the face, and we realize that that's just simply not the case, that these guys are a shell of them former selves, and a lot of times they do damage to their legacy for hanging on too long, for trying to still be that guy when they can no longer be that guy. And due to ego, due to whatever, they're not able or willing to let it go and accept it and understand it and move on into the next phase of their life. And I look at Kobe Bryant, and that's what I see. One of the best players in the NBA during my lifetime that I've had a privilege of watching. To me, the second greatest two guard in the history of the NBA, a guy that's done so much and meant so much to the NBA, one of its biggest, brightest stars for over a decade and a half now, is now this Kobe Bryant. And it's hard to watch. It's tough to see. It's sad, frankly. And I really hope that Kobe Bryant doesn't hang on too long. I really hope that Kobe Bryant understands that he once had his time, but that time has gone and it will never return. And that for all the great things that he once was and that he once did, he no longer will be able to do all of those great things, and he will no longer be that ever again. And I hope he understands that it's time to hang it up. I mean, let's look at Kobe Bryant and the Los Angeles Lakers this year. You know it's a bad sign when you're the highest paid player and you're one of the biggest stars in the league, and frankly, your team plays and produces better when you're out of the lineup, either sitting on the bench or missing out of games due to injury or fatigue or what have you. That's not a good thing. Stars are supposed to elevate the play of others around them. The superstars are supposed to make their team better because of their star power and what they can bring to the table. When your team is better off without you, that's a pretty damning statement. And you could definitely say that this year's Los Angeles Lakers team has been better when Kobe Bryant isn't on the floor. And part of the reason is because Kobe Bryant still wants to be the Kobe Bryant of old when he no longer physically is able to do so. It's been sad to sit there and see Kobe Bryant shooting like 37.5% from the field. It's been sad to see Kobe Bryant have to miss games due to fatigue and miss games due to this. And now for the third consecutive season, his season will be cut short due to an injury. I mean, we go from tearing an Achilles to tearing knee ligaments, to now, for Christ's sake, this guy has torn his rotator cuff. His rotator cuff. How many times have we ever heard of a basketball player tearing their rotator cuff? It is obvious to me that the years of NBA wear and tear have really started to take a toll and really started to catch up to Kobe Bryant, and they have aged him well beyond his actual age. And that's not a big surprise. I knew this moment would come, but it's been amazing just how rapidly that has come and how rapidly Kobe Bryant's skills have deteriorated. Now, occasionally he'll show those flashes of brilliance, and occasionally he will show some of that old form. But those flashes are just flashes, and they're ever fleeting and fewer and farther in between, and I assure you of that. And now we are talking about a Kobe Bryant that, again, could potentially be losing an entire season, or the rest of a season at least, due to an injury. And this time it's a freaking rotator cuff. It's sad to see such a great player trying to hang on to try and once again achieve glory gone by, especially when he is nowhere near the player that he once was, yet he still, I think, believes that he is that same player when he clearly is not. Age, injuries, wear and tear from a long NBA life have really started to take a toll on Kobe Bryant. And what I don't want to see happen is see this guy just basically be taking up a roster spot. I don't want to see Kobe Bryant become just a guy. I don't want to see Kobe Bryant be mocked as the most overrated and overpaid athlete in the NBA, maybe in professional sports. I don't want to see that. I don't want that from him. And this is coming from a guy who himself has never been a big-time Kobe backer, never been a big-time fan. But I do have an appreciation for greatness when I see it. And I don't want to see Kobe Bryant be remembered for this. I don't want to see Kobe Bryant be remembered for that fact that the Los Angeles Lakers were better off as a team without him than they were with him, and that perhaps the biggest hindrance and biggest obstacle to the Los Angeles Lakers turning it around and returning back to the glory days of old may indeed be arguably the greatest player in the history of their organization, Kobe Bean Bryant. I don't want to see that. I hope none of you want to see that either. Because when we see those guys that hang on for far too long, it's just sad. And no matter how much we try to think about their greatness and we try to think about all those wonderful things that they achieved throughout their careers, we ultimately come back to the way that it all ended. Because that's the last impression. And oftentimes the last impression is the most memorable impression. I really hope Kobe understands. This is the third straight year that you've had a season end due to an injury. And for crying out loud, you're a basketball player who just tore his rotator cuff. This is not an Achilles. This is not a knee injury. This is a rotator cuff. How the hell does that even happen? You're tearing a rotator cuff on a dunk. If that isn't a signal to you that, hey, maybe it's time for you to move on to the next phase of your life, then I don't know what the hell will ever tell you that it's time. I hope Kobe Bryant realizes that his better days are behind him. I hope Kobe Bryant realizes that he could really diminish and tarnish his legacy and how he's ultimately remembered by hanging on too long and being that burden and anchor that weighs down and destroys this Los Angeles Lakers organization for years to come. I hope Kobe Bryant realizes that the time has come for him to hang him up. Kobe Bryant, please, I implore you, I beg of you, do the right thing this offseason. Come to your senses and understand that you had your time and your time has come and gone. And for the sake of yourself, your legacy, the Los Angeles Lakers, and millions of fans around the world that love you and watch you and support you, understand that it's time to go. It's time for you to hang them up. It's time for you to retire. Thank you for all that you've done and all that you've accomplished. But you're not that player anymore. Accept that, deal with it, own it, and move on. I hope you're able to do that. I really hope Kobe Bryant understands that he is washed up. That when you get to the point where you're missing, big portions of seasons due to injuries like these, and your skills are already deteriorating, and you're shooting less than 40% from the field, and you're weighing down your team, and your team is playing better without you, when that team has individuals like Nick Young and Jordan Hill leading the way, if that doesn't tell you that you're done, I don't know what ever does. So Kobe Bryant, I hope, understands this and realizes that it's time to hang it up.